Hi, Hanshi Steve Kaufman here. Continuing on with the lessons from Musashi's Book of Five Rings based on my interpretation, the best-selling version in the world, now going through its 25th anniversary. Tonight I'm going to teach about the Book of Earth, which is the first of the five books. Five books are Earth, Water, Fire, Wind, and No Thing. I will go through the different variations of the fundamentals of the Book of Five Rings. The opening of the Book of Earth starts with a very simple statement. No man is invincible. No man can possibly understand all there is to understand about the craft, the skill, the discipline that they follow. And the reason for this is simple. You have to keep practicing and you have to keep developing a desire to master your art to a higher level of consciousness and awareness. If you don't do that, then you're just going to stop at a certain point and that's it. You're not going to go that much further. Not necessarily lose what you've learned. If you stop learning, you stay at the place you are. Now you may get rusty, you may get stale, you may not be as efficient or as effective as you had previously been when you were in full practice mode, but that can be regained by a new approach to what it is that you're developing, and in this instance with Musashi, he's talking about mastery of the sword. Although you can take any of the teachings of Musashi and apply them to any discipline that you are following. Keeping in mind that as you develop your discipline, you must also realize there is not just one path. There are many paths, but there is one way to get to the top, and that is by constant devotion to it, depending upon how you define perfection. And as I had mentioned previously in the last video, there is perfection. There is excellence, though many people will suggest that there is not. One of the things that Musashi says, and I'm going to read it verbatim, the only shame in dying incorrectly is to have died for a stupid, meaningless reason, a foolish death. To die as a warrior means to have crossed swords and either won or lost without any consideration for winning or losing. There is just not enough time, and generally there is not enough strength in the resolve of any man to do otherwise. What this means is that if you are going to talk of yourself as a warrior, you must practice war. You cannot just say to yourself, hey, I'm a corporate warrior. What does that mean? I mean, I had mentioned previously, to not get a deal signed is one thing, to have your head cut off is a completely different thing. The Book of Five Rings is about strategy. The true value of studying strategy is to empower ourselves to overcome any adversity, any odds, regardless of what they may appear as, based on our limited perspectives on circumstances, depending on where we're coming from, or the situations that we find ourselves involved with in life. There is no particular reason that anyone cannot ascend to this level of mastery. Mastery is based on the idea of constant practice. So even if you have no particular skill or no particular talent for a particular thing, if you truly and sincerely want to attain a level of competency in this desire that you define for yourself, you will do it. And the spirit of the thing itself, of your desire, is what will carry you through based on the sincerity of your devotion to it. See, the creative power of the universe is totally objective. It doesn't care about you, me, him, her, or anything else. What it is concerned with is what you decide in your heart that you want to accomplish, and what you decide with your mind as the choice you make for what you want to accomplish. But if you're not sincere, the spirit of the thing itself will not reveal the truth of it as the decision and discipline you want. It will not reveal itself to you. And this is where you fall short. This is where many people fall short. So they'll just look and say, hey, you know, I'm really into this, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the other thing. I'm not getting anywhere with it. Well, the attitude is one of the reasons they're not getting anywhere with it. But the other reality is the fact that they said, I'm not getting anywhere with it. And that is an absolute truth. When you say something that's going to negate your ambition, negate your incentive, you're absolutely right. you're positively wrong. The true way to mastery of anything cannot be based on frivolous, entertaining ideas. Oh wow, I'm really into this. Oh wow, I'm really into that. If you're into something, you know you're into it. But once you decide to be into it, you have to continue to reinforce that, or it's just going to become whimsy. And you've seen this all over the place where you go to these contests where the winner walks away with a 32-foot trophy that has go into a contest. Hey, I'm going into the kata contest and I will do the best kata. And yes, you end up doing the best kata, you win a trophy for that. But that is not the same as acknowledging yourself as a master. If you start to base your acknowledgement of yourself on the trinkets that you're winning, you're not there. You've got to say, hey, this is very nice. I've got all of these trophies. I've got all of these diplomas. Let me enhance my own understanding and knowledge of what it is that I'm doing to let me to get to another level of consciousness and another level of understanding. You cannot fool with the spirit of the thing itself. You cannot fool with the creative power of the universe and expect it to just jump to your whim because, hey, I want this and I want it now, and you have a tantrum. You can't do that and expect to have the results that you sincerely, internally want. The spirit of strategy and the spirit of a way that you pursue is way more than you can ever conceive of. And so you must understand that there are samenesses between differences. Musashi talks about comparing the way of strategy, the way of the warrior, to the way of the carpenter. The carpenter uses tools to build something. The warrior uses a sword to build something. How you define building is a completely personal thing to you. Understanding strategy is based on your understanding of what it is you want to accomplish. And as a result of that, there are certain rules you have to follow. And you have to understand these rules, the rules you can break, the rules you must follow, and those rules that you can bend based on the society and the situation you find yourself in. You can't just all of a sudden decide, well, you're going to walk down the street with a 4-foot razor blade because that's your way of thinking, and society in general frowns on that. And you've read reports about that, no doubt, where someone is on a train and all of a sudden they pull out a sword. And then somebody comes on the train that doesn't use a sword. They use a gun. So understand where you are. Understand what it is you're involved with. Understand your responsibility to society. Understand your responsibility to yourself to live a clean, virtuous life. You talk about the virtue of strategy. You talk about the virtue of the sword. You must also talk about the virtue of yourself in relation to your everyday lifestyle. These are all parts of the foundation of the Book of Earth. We're just talking about the fundamentals of what you have got to understand and the manner in which you must conduct yourself accordingly to circumstance and situation. You must be in harmony with it. You don't have to agree with it. But if you're involved with it, you have to function according to the general rules. And those rules have to be followed. There are also rules you don't have to follow based on your personal belief, but you cannot not believe in certain rules or not follow certain rules just as spite work. Hey, I don't like that, so let me break down society. That sounds very good in an immature mind. But if something is really offensive to you and you don't want to follow it, understand that it's part of the society and find the mechanisms and tools you need to bring about the change. And don't look to bring about change for all of society. Look to bring about change for yourself so that you can ascend to a higher level of consciousness while pursuing your skill and discipline. All men are the same, regardless of their beliefs, whether they're in complete harmony or partial harmony or not in harmony at all with anyone else. Everyone has their own idea of what the universe is for, why they're here. And for those folks who don't have an idea of why they're here or what's it all about, when they're frustrated, confused, and things like that, are people who are measuring themselves against external appearances. You measure yourself against external appearances, you're never going to be who you are. So if you're going to take your sword and pray, hey, I'm going to be good, I'm going to be better than Musashi, there's no way you're going to be better than Musashi, regardless of the fact that he's dead a couple of hundred years. That's got nothing to do with it, man. And you hear the old story about, well, you want to be better tomorrow than you are today. But you have got to understand that the spirit of the thing itself will only reveal to you what you tell it to reveal to you. Hey, I'm practicing my sword, I'm practicing my violin. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. Yeah, well, you're missing the point. I want to play better today than I played yesterday. So whatever it is that I have to do, the spirit of the thing itself will reveal to me. If you want to approach a new subject, you approach it as already being its master. Because if you approach it as already being its master, the spirit of the thing itself will reveal to you what you must do to ascend to pure mastery. Instead of taking 25 years to learn something, by taking the proper attitude and the proper approach, you could probably master something in about 2 or 3 years. If you want to be a black belt, you decide in your head that you are a black belt, even though you're wearing a white belt. All of a sudden, you start to ascend in consciousness and in skill and ability. Green, purple, brown, black. And it does not have to take the rest of your life to do it. And Musashi explains that very clearly. Now there are certain levels of accomplishment that are going to appear to you as like wrong, or what is this all about? As you ascend, you must permit the spirit of what it is you're doing to take you over. The spirit of the thing itself that you know you want to learn knows what you want. But if it starts to reveal things to you, and you say, no, that's not what I want this. Well, perhaps the spirit of the thing itself is preparing you to be able to function on the level you're looking for. Look, the same applies to taking care of your equipment. The same applies to a carpenter taking care of his tools. You know, if you just let your sword lay there and, you only try to pick it up, cut bamboo, this, that, and the other thing, screw the blade up, you must take care of that tool. And that tool will take care of you. The adage, the sword is the soul of the samurai, is only a half-truth. The sword is the soul of the samurai, when the samurai is the soul of the sword. You are extensions of each other, even though it's a non-sentient thing, a piece of material, but it has a soul. This is something you will come to learn, and Musashi makes this very, very clear. When you take care of your instruments, you take care of your tools, you're showing a respect to those tools. And by showing respect to the tool itself will respond to your needs by having you use it. So you are an instrument of the spirit of the thing itself. The spirit of the thing itself doesn't need you, you need it. And by your devotion to it, it will determine that, yeah, okay, you're for real. Here's a little more, and you start to ascend to higher levels of accomplishment. Again, you will only accomplish mastery when the spirit of the thing itself of what it is you're doing acknowledges you based on your sincerity to it. Are you developing yourself? Are you working towards accomplishment? I talk about the spirit of the thing itself. Musashi talks about the spirit of the thing itself. It's external until you bring it in. And by bringing it in means you accept it as already there. We'll get to all of these things. And this is very important, and you have to understand the basics of the Book of Earth. The Book of Earth is about fundamentals and how you must conduct yourself accordingly based on what it is you're doing. You're also going to notice, and I'm sure many of you already have, is why does he keep saying the same thing over and over and over? Well, in the Book of Five Rings, Musashi approaches every concept that he's talking about over and over and over. He's approaching it from any different variation you can think of till the one that brings that message into you very clearly and succinctly. Is that what that is? I'm doing this for like, what, how many years already? And at the same time, every time I go through it, a light bulb goes off. I learned something new. About the Book of Five Rings? No, about me. And this is what you have to do. You have to devote yourself to you, which is a purely selfish thing. And we'll get into that as well. Don't forget, we're just talking about the Book of the Earth here, and we haven't even finished the Book of the Earth. We'll go through water and fire, wind, and no thing. If you like what you're seeing over here and you appreciate the lessons I'm teaching, click subscribe and click like. Ask me any question you want to ask me, and I will acknowledge the question. If you don't like what you're seeing, subscribe anyway and click don't like and tell me what you don't like, and I'll address that as well. I seriously suggest, and I do this all the time, that if you want to understand Musashi's Book of Five Rings from my perspective, based on the best-selling version of the book, if you read other versions, that's okay too, but to follow exactly what I'm talking about, or to have a handle on my philosophical approach to the Book of Five Rings, it will behoove you to have a copy of my version of the Book of Five Rings. If you like what you're seeing, again, subscribe. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.